it's a crazy time for our station, but it's also a crazy time for us as we get into the outdoors. And we got a cold front this week. I'm going to shoot some ducks this weekend. You've got arrows that are getting sent or bolts that are getting sent at does. This is Eric Tasker. Paul Wagner's in studio with me. Tailgate Talk here on 97.3 The Game. And we're going to talk about a couple different things, but it's a super exciting episode for us, show for us. Paul Wagner, 200 episodes of Tailgate Talk. 200
episodes. And just to shoot straight with everybody, I just wanted to mention this. We are recording this on Friday. You're going to listen to it, obviously, Saturday morning, but we're doing it Friday. Tasker's going duck hunting. I've got some boys coming in. We've got the Brewers game. We got the Badgers. We got a lot of things going on this weekend. The Packers with the Bengals. So we are recording just so I don't screw up. But the thing I wanted to tell you before we get into the 200th episode is I'll elaborate later. We did harvest a doe last night, and we found her this morning. So now to go back, 200 episodes we've had. It's crazy. It really is, considering where it started from. And I remember still having lunch one day with Tim Scott, and Tim said, you know what, I really want you to help these guys out. I'd really like you to just give me some Brewer information, some baseball talk about the World Series, talk about baseball in general. But I know your love is for the outdoors, and nobody really knows that. So what if I give you and you guys an opportunity to actually just talk, talk, and and he's always made it about sports and stuff, outdoors and stuff, because we do elaborate or we do talk about a lot of different things. So again, getting
we talk about the Quick Trip Hot Bar or whatever it is.
What's your favorite one, and who likes this and who likes that? But 200 is amazing.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy to think back, and maybe we'll just save that for the middle segment, because we're going to go down memory lane a little bit and just talk about some of that stuff. So let's get back to what we're all really excited about. When you said that about recovering the doe, I kind of looked at my watch and I thought, for 3 or 4 weeks now, Wags has been saying we're taking does early this year. October 10th.
Yes.
Is the deadline.
Yes.
And here we are, 10/10. Yes. And you didn't completely fulfill your goal.
Yes.
But you got 2 out of there. I got 1, and then you got another one last night or this morning that you recovered. So does that give you a little optimism, or are you like, yeah, shoot, I wish I would have been able to maybe take 1 more in this time? Because originally we were kind of talking, you're like, probably 3, maybe 4. And especially if we can get the big ones out of there, that would really be helpful. But I just got to thin the herd a little bit. So 2 is better than none. I'll tell you that much.
Correct.
So,
and we talk about that. And in general speaking, we always say, okay, we're going to take the big ones and we're going to let the little ones go. But I looked at somewhere, I saw and read somewhere that the consumption isn't necessarily based on the size.
Right.
These animals will still consume. The issue came up when, yes, the fawns, I mean, obviously no spots, and we want no nubs.
Right.
Because we want those bucks to grow. But the problem is processing fees. Unless I had a couple buddies that actually had the time, and the weather would have been cooperative rather than 85 and 90 degrees in the shade.
It was like 88 degrees.
Yeah, it's like there's no way we're going to be able to cut up our own deer. So that kind of leaned me towards the larger animals rather than the small ones, because if I take it into our go-to places, the processing fees don't outweigh my poundage. Yes. So, but if I can learn how to do that or be comfortable with it, I have no problem doing that. But the weather just didn't cooperate.
Right.
And I look at my food plots and I see what I did. And we learn every year. We talk every year about whose seed product we use, where we do, what I'm planting. And this year I had that mixture of beans. And I didn't really realize that when we planted the beans in August, that when you look it up, the beans will grow to a certain height. Then they will flower, then they need to be pollinated, and then the pods form. And that's about a 60-day process. So I'm looking at my food plots right now, and I'm like, August, September, October. So we planted the first week in August, that's 60 days. I got the flowers, but it's starting to get cold. We've had a frost already.
Right.
Do these flowers turn into pods, or did I miss the boat? Did I miss the boat? Because my food plots get annihilated. There are so many deer, and Armin, you know this, or you don't know this is why we're doing it. They come in and they just start to just crush everything, and there's no food when the time needs to be there.
So interesting. I mean, the depths of the analysis we go through here, I love it. It's very interesting that you talk about this.
So Armin's running the board.
Yeah,
for us
I am,
now.
guys.
So,
What's up?
Yeah. So,
what's up?
So this is good. So, and you were just saying that, they get to a certain height, they start to pollinate, they start to grow, and then they go into the actual pods. My first thought is you're lucky if you even get them there, which is the whole root of why we're talking about this, is that you had to thin the herd a little bit. You had to get some of those big deer out of there because, I mean, it was funny that day that I shot that doe. When I was sitting on the field edge and I kind of just like camouflaged myself and tucked in, I mean, I'm 3 feet off the food plot at that point, and I could just scan in front of me. And it was so funny to see like exactly where they walked through because it was like, leaves were gone, everything was eaten down to nothing. And then there's like these big patches where it's all fully grown. So it's very noticeably different.
Yeah.
And when there's 3 of them out there, there's 7 of them out there that are full mature does and they're eating like a cow. How do you even manage that except for taking a couple of them early?
Correct. And then I evolve personally like every single year.
Right.
And first, I was hesitant to harvest does. Now I'm okay with it. And now I'm thinking, you see that big doe come in. Yeah, we hate her because she spies us, she spots us.
She knows she's
blows,
way too keen. She's way too smart and
but
attracted
she
to those
does
things.
produce fawns.
Right.
So am I thinking the wrong way now?
Mm-hmm.
Do you keep those smart does that produce fawns that are giving you the animals and maybe take one of those smaller ones? Do I learn how to cut up my own deer for sure? Take the trimmings to all the places because you can, and they'll make sausage for you. They just charge you by the pound.
Yeah.
Do I do that? Because how many does can produce? How long do they produce? Especially those couple does that come in are giving us twins. And they're giving us the twins. Obviously, it's weird, but one was a nub and one's not. Mm-hmm. But you're getting bucks. You're getting 2. She's doing her job. Is that the one I want to do? Or do I want to take the littler ones out because she's going to produce 2 more does or 2 more fawns next year?
Yeah. Well, and I think what we had kind of talked about, before, after, kind of like as the season was kind of getting kicked off, was the biggest problem that we had with that big doe was she was way too smart. So, like, she would blow other deer out of there.
True.
But she would also kick bucks off the food plot, which is exactly the problem that you were facing. So we were like, okay, she might be very fruitful or whatever, but hopefully that has been passed down to her doe fawn that she had that will continue to be able to do that. But I mean, I know that one of them was having does or twins every year.
Yeah.
I think you had a couple of them that were having does every year, or twins every year. So hopefully that kind of continues, and hopefully, I don't know if that's like a hereditary thing where, part of people's family genetics, if you have twins, there's a better chance that you're going to have twins, if that's something that continues on with the deer herd as well.
And that's interesting that you brought up. Remember, we had that issue with her running off other deer and bucks. We have a little buck, a little 4-pointer, who thinks he owns the place. And he's
until
running.
Dad shows up.
Well, that's what I'm remember last year, those little ones fought off the big ones, or the big ones came up. And, do you also take a small buck that's your local buck? Like, that local buck is there every day.
Yeah.
He's there. But does he think he owns it? Does he mark his spots? And do other deer come in and say no? Or do they want the battle? Do they want the fight? I don't know. Do you take away the dominant doe who shows up everybody, and you take one of those bucks out so that the other ones can come in? Because I'm providing a food source in an agriculture area that the harvest has started early this year. So with the agriculture being gone, the corn, a lot of corn is gone. A lot of farmers used a lot of silage this year, so they went early. The beans are almost ready. Everything will be there, so I need that food here. I know I will have a central location as long as the food's there. Do you get away those bullies, the bullies on the playground? Do I want the bullies in the playground there or not? Maybe I don't.
Yeah, and it's interesting for me, too, because I try and relate it kind of to what you're going through, because we've talked about it many times. I have so many deer in my yard. I've been running a camera out there for probably 3 months now because I'm just curious, and I cut like a little outlot in like our tall fescue grass that we have out there, and, I think I've only had one buck in my yard all year so far. And at some point, when that starts to get cut, all of that ag around us, we've got one bean field that's cut. All of the corn is still standing. But I'm wondering, how long does it take? Is it going to be really after they completely cut the field out back and they're just out there foraging and they're kind of finding that to be their sleeping spot, their resting spot that they normally do? Or will they be there before that because everything else is getting cut around us? I'm not that far off.
Right.
I just think it's really bizarre that we have not had any bucks back there. Where are they?
So on my cameras, and I was just trying to pull it up in here, is they'll come in. They come in random, and they always say that a buck will come in. I believe it's a 7-day period, and it can sometimes be exact to the date from last year. They'll come in their 7-day period, and they'll hunt at that time for their female, for their does. But when we turn over dirt, those does will come out here. But I've also seen that a lot of these bucks will come from somewhere else, and they just check out. It's like walking into a. I'm going to make this up because maybe this isn't right, but you walk into a bachelor party. No, you walk into a bachelorette party, right? You see the girls are having a great time. The guys walk out because the girls are still handing out presents and they're having a great time at the bachelor party. But then afterwards, that's when so I think these bucks come in.
They wait 2 hours.
Yeah,
and then they return.
They see these does, and then they're just saying, you know what? This is a nice little bar. This is a nice little bar here.
Remember that piano bar that we were at? I don't know. Maybe we should go back there.
Let's go back
I've
there.
never been to a piano bar. Maybe we should go back. Probably.
Remember Lucille's? You remember Lucille's?
Lucille's.
It doesn't exist anymore, but yeah.
Yeah, we're on Buffalo Street.
Yeah, bachelor parties used to always be there. That's a great reference point.
Yeah.
And that's exactly it.
So maybe they just come and check, and like we've seen, you saw the trails sitting on the ground. You actually see the trails. But those trails and paths, as we've said many times, are doe paths.
Right.
And those bucks always cross them because they're smelling, they're sniffing. They want to smell that good perfume that they're wearing.
Right.
And if they walk by it, and then if they catch something, they'll come up that trail and find her. But you know what? They know where it is. And I'm just worried that...
They kind of mark it on their Onyx, and they're like, all right, well, we're going to come back here. We know that this is here. It's still doing really well, but I have food at home.
Yes.
So I'm going to come back when the fridge is empty, and we're gonna make sure that we come back here.
It's amazing how these animals are not different than humans.
Very, very similar.
You know the spots. Okay, well, the free cover for the ladies here at this bar. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
And my buck activity is coming in early now, so it's not necessarily light time. But again, this guy came in. I know nobody else can see this, but he came in about 5 this morning. But they're coming in a little bit early now with the temperature change and stuff like that. So are they just checking it out to see who's here? Because obviously it's a little early. It's a little early. We still have about 20 days before the does become really receptive. Maybe 15 to 20 days before they become receptive. But again, they're checking it out. You're right. Hey, this guy, he's looking around. Hey, my buddies are coming into town next weekend. We got a place to go.
We'll be back. All right. Well, this is it's episode 200. We're gonna take a little walk down memory lane here after the break. We're going to talk about our sponsor, Bunzel's, here at some point, but I wanted to just kind of open up the show and just kind of talk about what's going on right now. And, it's exciting. You got another doe down, so that's just, it's always good to be a part of that. And we're getting to the very, very exciting time of the year.
Yes.
For us deer hunters. So more on that after the break. This is Tailgate Talk on 97.3 The Game. Typically at this time, I'm like kind of hardly even in the woods yet, but I'm like, I'm going to just go after it early. We got it done out by you, and we're kind of approaching that time where it's like super exciting, and a lot of those memories have been made for us. So like me shooting my buck with my dad getting a couple deer, you've had some success in October, and they call it Bucktober for a reason, because this is when you really get a good idea of when all of those things are happening. So in honor of our 200th episode, I kind of went back through our logs, and of course we've really established some really, really great friendships. I mean, first of all, you and I, but also just with clients and some other people that
our guests
that we've met. And I'm going to run through this here. And some of these are going to be opportunities we've had. Some of these are going to be interviews. Some of these are going to be topics. But I've got a paragraph here that's going to jog all of the memories that we've had, over the course of our 200 episodes. So, Matthew's Archery Tour, Vortex Tour, HHA Tour, Chris Ham from HHA as an interview, Mark Boardman from Vortex, Nick from Faraday Outdoors, Domain Outdoors interview and partnership from last year. We had a chance to get out to Milford Hills, do a pheasant hunt. We had a tailgate talk goes international where Wags called in from Canada. You had like a game up there or something. I got a chance to go to Ballard's Black Island and Lake of the Woods and do a fishing trip up there. Some turkey mishaps, some missed does, interviews with Mark Zona, Casey Morgan from Deerfest, Dan Durbin a bunch of times, for all the different shows that he does, Luke Wessel from Land Guys, Cooking with Miss Allie, who has that super, super famous venison cookbook. John Resnack and all the times that he's come on to talk about all the Clam Outdoors updates. We had some like really big topics, universal background check updates that went into effect like 3 years ago. The big wolf hunt fiasco, which you had the honor and privilege of kind of screwing up a little bit.
Well, they just took my money. They didn't give it back.
Money. Yeah.
They took my money and never refunded me.
Yeah. We've been so lucky to have Bunzels as a partner for all of these years, for all 200 episodes. We've had Buck Rub be a part of the show.
And that was one thing I wanted to talk. Remember, you didn't mention this when we had him on. It was a very interesting conversation when he was part of the NRB board.
Correct.
Is that what he is?
Yeah. Greg Kazmierski.
Yeah, so Kaz is part of NRB, and I don't know if those are the exact letters, but it was very interesting to learn about how licensing money, who determines where it goes, where off limits, where prairie grass, the acquisition of land.
Yep.
Just very, very interesting. And I always wanted to have him back because I could have talked forever because he shoots right from the hip.
Because I think we did 2 full episodes in one recording because there was just so much that we got into.
Yeah.
Just all of the different things. It kind of gave us a look behind the scenes. And Kaz was, he's been a part of the NRB, which I believe stands for Natural Resources Board. So it's not just, whitetails or ducks or anything. It's kind of everything to do with all of our natural resources across the state.
A lot of food plot people. We've had a lot of food seed. We have a lot of seed.
Yeah.
A lot of people we haven't gotten on.
Morning Buck Seed Co.
Yeah.
Which was always fun. I still wear that shirt.
Yes.
As I'm like doing, yard work or whatever. But, just some really, really cool things that we have had the opportunity to be able to do. So I just kind of ran through there. I don't know if that helped jog your memory of any other ones. I mean, you just said, Kaz from Buck Rub and, having that conversation.
What about our, so one of our listeners, your good buddy, a buddy of mine, Pat Reed. What about the guy that does
Terminal
turkey
game calls?
Terminal game calls. Remember him? And he's a Pennsylvania guy. So it was nice. I believe,
law enforcement guy.
Yes, I believed it was Western Pennsylvania, so he was familiar with, obviously, when I played with the Pittsburgh Pirates and stuff. And if not, I think we jogged his memory and he did a little bit. But again, going out that way, we've met so many good people, and there's so many that we still have to get in touch with. We have the Merton Seed Mill.
Mm-hmm.
They're right there in downtown Merton. We have to get those guys on. I want to get Benny. Benny's dad wants to come on and talk about it. I want to get Joe Flater up at Flater's where my bear is and where I do a lot of muskie fishing and stuff like that. So we have had a lot of great people in the past. And I think moving forward, we still have a lot of good people to talk to.
There's so many out there.
Yes.
It's kind of crazy how, we're like, oh, yeah, we're going to get this guy in. And then all of a sudden, Nick Lenzendorf walks in from Faraday Outdoors. He's like 6'7", 6'6". He's this huge dude. He's a former pitcher.
I play baseball at Viterbo. I go,
yeah. So it's like all of these things that, and then all of a sudden we're like texting with these guys. He's checking in with us all the time. Hey, whenever you need something, man, just let me know.
Yep.
It's really cool. And I think that's something unique about the outdoor industry is that 1,000% there's so much arrogance and like ignorance and annoyance and like, just everything that goes with a lot of egos, but there are so many really, really solid, down-to-earth, willing to do anything and everything. I mean, we've had the Okayest Hunter guys on here, which you've gotten to meet a couple times now. I mean, they're just people who are willing to do whatever they can to help others, and if they benefit from it in any way,
So
shape, or
be it.
form, great.
I do. I
You
believe
know.
the interest of the outdoors is everybody, even from the Drurys to the Lakoskis, all of the
Yeah.
big time people. I don't believe that they would have an issue helping us or helping you or getting on the podcast. I played baseball with some of the Buck Commander guys.
Right.
Adam LaRoche is the big guy. I didn't play with Adam. He's a little bit younger than me.
Yeah.
But Tommy Martin, Tombo, and Ryan Langer, some guys that are doing this. And again, I didn't reach out. We should have gotten them on.
Yeah.
There's so many things, but I know they would because this industry has got so many helpful people. We go to the sports shows. You go anywhere.
Yeah.
Everybody is willing to talk. Men, women, children.
Right.
They want to keep the outdoors part of the family life. It's a family. It's part of family. We've all had stories about Grandpa going here and Grandpa doing this and Grandma doing this. We want that so bad to continue, but
Yeah.
life is weird right now. It's different, and it's hard to get back to those early roots because there's so much available.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we're all just trying to do so much.
Right.
You know, I think you're a perfect example of that, of this year. You know, you would have maybe liked to have planted in mid-July had you known that it was going to be just a little dry.
Yeah.
And you were going to be, well, although then you probably would have been washed out because we had all the floods at the beginning of August, but it was like all right around that time, and you're thinking, okay, a 60-day window, but, you know, we're making a playoff run right now with the Dock Hounds, and I just don't have time. I just don't have time. And as soon as you guys were done with baseball, I got the phone call. Hey man, it's time to get to work. Let's do something.
Yeah.
Let's do some stuff. You just let me know when you got time, and you know it's easy for me to be able to do that because we're just right down the road. But we're all just trying to do so much stuff that it also gives us that opportunity. Then, you know, I mean, I'm doing this duck hunt this weekend, and you know, I've got my time off at the end of the month or like beginning of November. We're doing it a little bit later this year, but it's that time just to get away, reset. Spend time with the family, spend time with my dad, my uncle, and, you know, it's just our kind of my way. I mean, I'm sure you feel the same way, is that it's a time to reset. It's a time to kind of relax and like check out and be able to just kind of think about deer hunting for a while.
I think the correlation with baseball is if you play baseball, whether you played in the big leagues or not, you learn every time. I got a lot of kids that have got a lot of different experience, whether it's overseas, in the big leagues. I work with so many different levels of players, and you are always learning. And I think that's what's so good about the outdoors. Whether you're fishing, whether you're turkey hunting, whether you're going out to a new farm in Kansas like we just got rid of, you're learning. You always learn. You're learning food plots, when to plant. It's an evolving, it's a constant learning experience. And I think I can relate to that to sports because I learned, and I know you don't know much about pitching, and you know, guys are throwing this pitch called the kick change. Okay, so the kick change is a changeup. It's thrown just like a fastball. And the reason why this kick change with the finger on top of the ball is thrown is because when you throw a normal changeup, your hand and arm is supposed to pronate.
Okay.
You know, pronate and supinate. Well, guys have a hard time pronating that changeup. And if you know the old brewer we had in Devin Williams, Devin Williams would throw that and he'd pronate, and you could see his hand do that.
Okay.
But if you can't do it, now you throw this kick change. It still gives the velocity, but it doesn't. It helps people that cannot pronate to be able to throw the changeup.
Yeah.
So now we learn. We don't plant beans here. The beans got to go earlier.
Right.
My rape and my brassicas and my greens got to go early. I got to mow them. We learn every day. Can't fish this hole. Can't get this cast here.
Right.
This turkey's coming over here. You know what? We learn all the time.
Eric doesn't know what the hell he's doing with the turkey call.
Well, Armin doesn't know this, but I'm calling the turkeys, and he's kind of looking at me, and I go, I don't know what the hell I'm saying. I just scrapped.
That's amazing. Whatever works, you know.
Right,
Whatever.
right.
Well, or it doesn't work. I guess in our
work,
case.
whatever, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, in like our first time, like going turkey hunting, I just remember you at the box call, and you're like, I don't know, we're just gonna put
You
it out
looked
the
at me
window,
like,
and we're like,
you kind of looked at me like, oh, does he know what he's doing? And I kind of was sensing that. I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Well,
gonna be honest.
turkey's like radio too. I mean, if you need some turkeys, just go in our parking lot. They're always out there. That's the call you need right there. So they're
We
always
should
hanging
have just
around.
powered up the signal, and
Yeah.
then we would have been all right. But yeah, you're totally right. I mean, it's this like never-ending education of like, how do we do this, or maybe it's learning a new spot, or scouting in this area, or whatever it might be. But I think that's been really cool. I mean, and for me, like, I started later in life, so I didn't have like that, like, I was going to say 12 to 18-year-old time frame, being in the woods and doing all that stuff. Now it's like, geez, I mean, people are out there at like 6 years old or 8 years old and doing the youth hunt and doing some
Which
of
is
that
coming
stuff.
up this weekend.
Which is coming up this weekend.
But you know what else we did? We didn't touch on this. Is we've also done things. We did talk about hunts and the people, but we've also talked about things that we do prior to the hunts.
Right.
Going to the what supplies do we need? Do we need heat? Do we need
Right.
batteries? Do we need flashlights? Where do we stop? What's our favorite Casey's food? What's our
Right.
favorite rollers? Quick
Right.
Trip. What's our go-to energy drink? Do we drink coffee? We've had so much. So the whole hunting umbrella covers so much more, and we've kind of touched on it all
Yeah.
the time. How do we keep our feet warm? How do we keep our
Right.
bodies warm? How do we control scent? There's
Yeah.
so many things that we've covered in 200 episodes, and we continue to do it. So I think this is why this industry and this is such a good thing.
Yeah. What bourbon are we drinking? I mean, we
Exactly.
had like a whole show about bourbon, and
Yes.
just like, oh yeah, there's this like Kill Shot whiskey, or there's like all these different things that, there's beverages that will be consumed at deer camp. Why not have a beverage or like a distillery actually capitalize on that? And I don't know if you're familiar with that Kill Shot whiskey, but it's actually Ledge Rock Distillery, which is in Wisconsin. So it's like maybe Appleton or something like that. The guys are all big hunters. We've kind of connected a little bit on social media, and I don't know, maybe that's somebody that we bring on and that we talk about that. And it's like, oh, well, it's the off season now. You guys don't have to worry about deer anymore. You guys can start bottling some more bourbon.
And Wisconsin does have some. We got Driftless
Yeah.
Glen. We got Jay Henry. There's ones that I don't mention. I mean, we have
Central
connections.
Standard.
I mean, we have connections with Jimmy. Jimmy Cantor's a great person over at Central Standard, and Owen. I mean, all those guys are great guys.
Yeah.
And they've got new stuff, and we should always just continue to open up that
because it's
umbrella,
always
because it's always
part of something that we're doing, and it is the really cool thing that we get to kind of like sit back and think about all those things right now. 200 episodes in, that we've just been super lucky to be able to talk to all of these different people. But like a lot of people have reached out to us, and a lot of people have found out about us and have heard our story. And, I can't even tell you, I mean, it's got to be more than, a dozen or so people from my past that are like, is this still your number? Are you on the radio on the weekend?
Yeah.
Are you like doing this? And it's fun to see that. It's fun to hear from those people, and it's like one of my buddies is like, hey man, I've been in Madison ever since I graduated college, but we moved back to the area, and I'm super big into ice fishing now. And it's just like these random people that will come back into your life because they find you through doing something that we love, talking about the outdoors. But also, just being able to get to share some of those experiences that we have, and being able to build, friendships through all of these different connections. And you just, like I said, you never know where they're going to come from. I mean, I think that like Chris Ham is a perfect example of that. Nick from Faraday Outdoors, perfect example of that. Luke is another one. All these guys that we just happen to reach out to, and all of a sudden we're like just going back and forth randomly, or, hey, I shot a doe, how's your season going? Just checking in with people.
Yeah.
And it's always the most random time. It's like, oh my God, it's like a Tuesday afternoon, it's 85 degrees, and Nick is checking in like, when am I getting out the next time? Or whatever. How's legs doing? Or whatever.
Yeah. I do apologize real quick because I did think I said Owen, but I know it's Evan. So it's Pat and Evan, I believe. Pat and Evan at Central Standard with Jim.
Okay.
I don't know why Owen. I was thinking Owen, but I apologize. Evan, I'm sorry.
You got
Central
brewers on your
Standard
mind.
bourbons.
Yeah.
We
Owen
can do
Miller.
so much. I know I met those guys. That's why I kind of went on this tangent while you kept talking. Is that I met them down at Brewers Fantasy Camp down in Arizona. And so there's so many people, like you said, that just reach out and don't know, hey, randomly, who's this guy speaking? I had one of the girls from the bank call, and she goes, hey, I'm taking the kids to soccer. Who's this on the morning show? Who's talking? I go, yeah, sounds like me, doesn't it? She goes, yeah, when I figured out it was a bunch of BS, I knew it was you.
Yeah, but that's the cool thing. And I guess that's just the cool part about radio as well, is that, when you have like a live and local, and, I say that now as we're pre-recording this for this week, but, when you have a local radio station that you grew up in that market, you never know who you're going to hear from.
Right.
You might have that random person that's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
What the hell is Eric doing on the radio? Why is he doing this?
Oh, it's the connections you make. I mean, that's what's fun about what you guys are talking about. And what's fun about the outdoors in general is those are the connections, the memories you make, right?
Right.
Anything else, strategies, all this, what really is going to last is the times you spent with those people that mean a lot to you.
100%.
Yeah.
That is the main goal of outdoorsmanship or outdoorswomanship. That's what we want. We want that. The memories that, whether you shot the deer or not, whether you caught that big fish or you lost it, or whether you guys were hiking in the mountains, you know what? Doug and his wife are going to remember them walking because they hike all the time, but maybe not exactly where they go, but the things that they did and saw. Yep. The memories are what you have, and that's what's so important. Not necessarily going back to hunt, not necessarily the harvest.
Right.
It's the hunt. It's the hunt.
Yeah,
and the
journey.
time that you spend with your dad and your uncles at the cabin, those are the memories. Hey, I think we shot that deer that one year. That's sitting up on the wall.
Right.
Yeah, but this is where we go for a fish fry. This is where we go for this. That's what it is.
And I just think, like, I remember one year we haven't done as much of that, like, second weekend of gun season hunting as much lately, but I remember when I was in college and I had a buddy that I had just gotten my license, and he was like, I'm going to take you out, and like, if your dad wants to come up and he wants to come out and sit with us out in the bottoms, like, we're happy to bring you guys out there. We're probably going to do some drives, and we're going to do, like probably 15 of us. And if he wants to just go sit in a tree stand, great. And they were all coming back. We were kind of wrapping up for the day. And my dad hears them walking. And on the other side, coming from the bottoms, he sees this busted up 10-pointer. And he's like, oh, shoot, this deer is going to get scared off because he's going to hear these guys coming. So he shoots, and then it runs out in front of him towards the trail, and he pops it the second time, and it dies like 8 feet from the trail. And all those guys were right there to see it happen. And we still talk about that, all these years later. Yeah. And it's like, it's just those memories that will never go away. And I think that really reminds me of, like, this year already was just like such a prime example of like how lucky and how fortunate I feel that I get all of this time with my dad, because this was the first year. I mean, I think I told you this was the first year I've ever shot that I didn't have my dad there. Yeah. I've never harvested a deer before where my dad wasn't with me.
At my place? Yeah.
And then you left me high and dry because your daughter turned 21. So you were like, all right, well, just figure it out. Here's what you got to do. The electricity's probably not working, whatever, but you got a headlamp.
And then I say, I'm on the phone with you, and my daughter is handing me a 21-year-old cherry bomb with about 5 gallons of Red Bull. I'm like, what are we doing here? Are you serious?
Forget the ATV. I'll just run home from the bar, and I'll drag it for you.
When you say things about the memories that are good, but we also have memories that are bad.
Yeah.
So I remember fishing with my daughters, and I remember I took them on a boat when I used to have a place up in it was up in Sugar Camp, it's called, right north of Rhinelander, south of Eagle River. We can drive into Eagle River and stuff like that, go to St. Germain. But I was on Indian Lake over there, and big smallmouth and stuff, and I'm out fishing, and I took one of the girls out, and I must have tried to set the hook, and it snapped out. I caught my daughter's finger, and the barb went all the way through. And she's crying, and I'm crying too, because I don't want to go home because we're going to get yelled at, and I don't know.
Mom's not going to be happy.
I don't know what we're going to do, but you know what? We made it work. To put the whatever, we got it out, and you know what? The things that No, that'll stick with me. I don't know if we caught the fish. I don't know how many fish we caught that day.
Right.
But I remember seeing
You
my
caught
dog.
the biggest fish.
Caught a big one.
Yeah.
Very expensive one, too.
Yeah. Oh, man. And that's like, my thumb when I caught that muskie
right.
last year.
That's
It's
right.
like, I don't know, things just kind of happen. And all of a sudden you got a $1,200 muskie catch that you weren't planning on after
I remember that, Eric. I do. Yeah.
a trip to the ER and 6 stitches later in Eagle River. And
The first time you shoot a scope and it
Right.
cuts your eye and you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I know. Every time I walk by, like, when it comes
Yeah.
into gun sighting time,
Right.
you know dang well I'm going to walk into Fleet Farm or you're going to walk into Cabela's. You're
Somebody's gonna be there.
Someone's going to
Black eye.
have a
Yeah.
cut above their eye and you don't even have to say anything because you know they got too close to the scope and it kicked them right in the eye.
Well, this was fun. I think we're going to wrap up this segment here, and then we'll just get into some sponsor stuff after this. But it's been super fun. It's been a lot of fun over these 200 episodes, and it's like, boy, I mean, who would have thought 4.5 years ago or 4 years ago, whenever we started this thing, that, I don't know, hey, Eric, come join us and just kind of talk about the outdoors, and now here we are. The two lone soldiers after all the changes.
And it was perfect. And I remember, I kind of vaguely remember that. I knew it because it was hard with baseball for me to get in here all the time.
Right.
And when Ritter was doing it, we needed somebody because you need to converse with somebody.
Right.
And it just worked out so good. And now
Yeah.
you look at that, the Ritters, whatever, the Timmy, people that have moved and come on, and all the Arminds and everybody who's helped us, who's helped us.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody, it's not. Again, you say that for successful shows, and, we got a little show here, but we've had such great support from everybody here,
Yeah.
whether it's Armin, Dougie, Casper, Joey. We had everybody will come in here to help us and run a board and make it work. So, again, it's nice to say that when you win big awards, but we didn't win no award, but we're really thankful for it, 'cause
Yeah.
Armin just got moved into a new slot, and, he's helping us.
Yeah, and we, I think they're just actually more fearful that we're going to send like the nuclear codes off or something in one of these studios and we start pushing buttons. So,
Oh, that's right. Remember when we had that whole issue, again, talking about the 200, we had that whole issue when the remodel was being done.
Right.
And there was no internet here. Something happened, and Packer stuff and Badger stuff wasn't going through. And we're trying to do it was
It was a
So
mess.
there's so many things that we've worked.
so many
through
things that
and-
happen behind the scenes
Yeah,
that we just try and work through.
I just thought of
and-
that as we were thinking.
and give you our best on a Saturday morning. So, after the break, we're going to just touch on sponsors. We'll wrap up episode number 200. Oh my gosh, getting ahead of myself here. It was really fun to kind of look back on everything that we've kind of encountered and that we've experienced and that we've learned or not learned, or we're too stubborn and we just never really learn from those things because that's kind of how we are sometimes. But I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Bunzel's Meat Market, who has been a part of this show for years now, and just super thankful for them doing everything that they've done for us. And I know the guys at Duck Camp are going to be very excited about the jalapeno cheddar sticks that I'm bringing this weekend. So
They are large, though.
They are large. So, but there's going to be like 8 of us. So I figured that's probably for the better. That's the perfect time to bring one of those big packages of those out there. So,
right.
So if you do happen to get lucky this week, if you are in need of a place to take your wild game, maybe you're going out west and you're bringing it back in coolers or whatever that might be, or you get lucky and you shoot a nice big whitetail here in the state of Wisconsin, Bunzel's is the place to go. Super great experience with those guys, and it was a pretty fast turnaround. I was deer number 4 when I dropped off. I was deer number 20 when I picked up. So they were up to like 20 as of like a couple weeks ago. But as you get into this back half of the season here, it's just going to get busier and busier, and they're going to have to start turning people away. So get there early. Bunzels, BUNZELS.com. Typically, we have a news segment here.
Real quick, did we go over the Bunzel's October? Yeah, we did.
Yeah. I'll just drop it here quick. 2 butter garlic chicken breasts, 2 homemade beer and onion brats, a whole or cut up chicken, a pound of ground chuck, 2 chicken patties, and $20.25.
Beautiful.
Grab them before the month's over. So.
The 2 news items that I want to bring, because it's not Eric Tasker news right now, because we are doing 200th episode, and
Yeah.
we're just kind of winging it, and we don't have much time. But don't forget, this weekend is the youth hunt.
Yep.
So all the youths and the guardians, please be careful, please be safe. Make sure that weapons are fired in a good direction and everything, the safety's on, and we unload our weapons. All the things that we go through gun safety courses. And also, I wanted to mention the DNR tree and shrub seedling sales began. I do that every year. Being a landowner, I thought, and we talked earlier about memories with the family, I always would buy them, and the girls would go out, and if you go on my property and you're on a four-wheeler and you go maybe to the north and you're on a different random trail, and all of a sudden you'll see, I don't know, 20 or maybe 15 white pines sticking up, and you're like, wow, how did those pine trees get there? You know, what we do is we took turns. Each daughter got to pick. So every year I'd get them. We go to a certain spot. We take our drill with the little auger on it, and we plant our 20 to 25, but each girl gets to pick the location.
Okay.
So when you drive on the property or we're tracking deer or something like that, you'd be like, this is kind of a weird spot. That is why.
That is why.
That is why.
Oh, that's great. I thought you were going to say that, like, suddenly there might be just a crop of them in the middle of a trail that you're just going to see stumps. You had to cut them down.
No. They better
you
not.
made your own trail.
I don't let them plant on the trails. They have to plant on the side, but the random spots are kind of crazy.
Yeah. As you were saying about the youth hunt for this weekend, how many, we probably mentioned the hunter safety courses and Tab K 200 times on this show as well. So just a good reminder, wear your blaze. I don't know. I think this is, it's been a fun walk down memory lane, and I mean, who would have thought that? Here we are, boy, we're at 200, and all the different places and things that we've been able to witness, and places that we've recorded, whether that was out at Buck Rub or if that was at the Dockhound Stadium, or doing it remotely and kind of just winging it. And I don't know, it's been really cool, and who would have thought? I mean, here. Just a couple boneheads talking about shooting things in the outdoors.
Exactly.
And, you know what I was going to mention? So I did go duck hunting earlier this week. And while I, kind of on brand, I shot twice at one bird because it got on us late. That Frankie.
It's a nice one.
It's so smooth. I just am so thankful that this show happened, because I bought the raffle tickets for the gun raffle and somehow came away with this beautiful shotgun. But we're going to let it rip this weekend. I mean, my nephews have been scouting all week. We've got a couple perms on big egg fields, and they sent me videos. I think they said they estimated 500 to 700 birds in fields every night.
Awesome. Well,
so it should be a lot of fun.
You guys will have a blast. You have a blast. And then thank you very much, Armin. And